So apparently you can't do that.
No, there is no fun allowed here.
No fun in the gun world.
And on that note, we are live.
Hello. Why, hello.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday night. Gentlemen, how are the two of you this evening?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
Very well. 17, you?
I'm doing great, man. Went to the Yankee game last night where they just beat up on Boston. It was great. And I made my tactical hat video. So the world was great.
So you can't say what it was. You just have to say your tactical video, your tactical EDC video.
Yes, true. If you haven't seen it, the tactical EDC video.
So what was the impetus for that?
Just kind of, thinking about all the people on YouTube who talk about tactical things they carry. And I have yet to see anybody make a tactical hat video. So I said, screw it. Let me do a tactical hat video as I'm wearing it right now.
Nice.
When I first started YouTube, I did a tactical video. And what I did is I don't know what the name of it. It might be Tactical is the name of the video. But I did a video, and I had like a holster, a knife, flashlight, and I took these little Post-it notes and I wrote tactical on every one of them. And I stuck them on every part that I had on the table. And I was like, look, it's a tactical holster because it says tactical. There's a tactical flashlight because it says tactical. I was just like, man, that word is so freaking overused.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And what's the real meaning behind it? I mean,
it makes people buy stuff. I mean, I've seen like plaid shirts like this and they say tactical. And I'm like, no, it's a plaid shirt. I mean, but
so I suppose a good question for everyone, and then I do want to get to a question from Paul. But a question for everyone is, if you're out shopping around for whatever items, firearms related, outdoor related, whatever, is tactical an important thing for you? If you see tactical in the label, does that catch your attention and you're thinking, what makes that more tactical? Or, ooh, I have to have it because it says tactical. What do you guys think? I'm curious about that.
Go ahead, 17.
Well, I think that anytime you buy a product that says or see a tactical product, I think you must have it, because it says tactical. I mean, it's just, what would not be tactical about it? I mean, it could be tactical nail clippers. And I guarantee you there's something about those nail clippers that are much more tactical than just regular nail clippers. Maybe it's the color, maybe it's the type of metal they're using. But tactical to me is an absolute. So for all of you watching, if you see anything written on tactical paper, buy it because it's worth more.
Well, yeah, nail clippers that are tactical have rails on them for accessories.
Exactly. See,
lights, lasers, and grenade launchers.
That's right.
No, I do not believe
little
that
ninjas.
You should spend more money.
What you say? Little ninjas.
I try and mix it up a little bit. However, lately I really haven't been doing it very much. I've had enough comments now that have said that people are getting tired of that. So I've decided to shelve it for a little while and then periodically, just let it all come out.
Okay. When I see something that says tactical on it, honestly, 90% of the time I call bullshit because it's not tactical. There's nothing tactical about it. It just has the name on it. And that's it. I mean, I've looked, I go in GT Distributors, which is a police and tactical gear store. And, unless you're getting into like night vision and you're getting into like SWAT garments and, things like that. I mean, I feel civilians should have those too, but, that's more of the tactical line, just because a flashlight says tactical, I call bullshit on that. That's just me personally. So.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I want to jump into a question here real quick, and now I need to scroll back down to it. Paul Highball had asked a question and actually had commented on a video of mine as well. I did see that, Paul. I hadn't had a chance to get back to it yet, but he said, do you think the P10C is a softer shooter than the X Compact? And I want to kind of widen the scope here a little bit because everybody here has got some experience with P320s in general. And although there are some differences with the X Compact, they're relatively comparable in their makeup. So I want to kind of present that question to everybody, if you don't mind, Paul, and then I'll kind of come around to specifically that question. But guys, what do you think? P10C or SIG P320, any of them as far as softer shooters go?
Go ahead, 17.
Softer is a relative term. I think muzzle flip would be maybe a better term to use, because they're both 9 millimeters, at least the ones that I shot, and they weren't exactly, brutal with the hands or anything. But I would definitely think, and I definitely felt the difference in regards to the muzzle flip. The P10 just rides lower in your hand, and the undercut. The undercut of the gun is deeper, so you're able to get underneath that slide a little bit more. So I would say that the P10 definitely would show less muzzle flip.
And I would definitely second that 1000%. The 320, is a great shooter. It has the higher bore axis, which whatever. I mean, that's what people say, but I think bore axis, if you can shoot it, you can shoot it. But I would say out of the two, P10C is definitely a flatter, less muzzle flip pistol if you're having to pick between the two.
Now, what about recoil? Because I think that was going back to the original question. I mean, I totally agree about the muzzle flip. I think the P10 is going to be a flatter gun. It sits lower, and as they say, if that bore is lower to your hand, it's going to come back to you. It's going to come back on your hand and your arm and all of that, rather than going up above your hand. So that's gonna pull you back a little bit more. At least that's the science behind it, as I understand it. But what about recoil itself? Which do you think is a softer shooter?
I would say the P10C. I'm not recoil sensitive. Some people are recoil sensitive, so that's going to vary between the grip and having all that stuff on it. But I would say the 320 probably has a little more recoil if you have to pick between the two. But either one is fine to shoot, and it could be. And a lot of people don't take this into account. The P10C has a more aggressive, like stippling or factory grip on it, which can give you a little better plant. The SIG can be a little slippery, especially if you've shot it, you're shooting it a lot or shooting it in humid conditions or outside. So that could have some play in it too. But I mean, I don't have a problem with either one of them personally with, grip or anything.
Yeah, I would say that the P10, because it has better overall ergonomics, is a less recoil gun. I mean, the 320 has more, what I would say, a very straight up and down kind of grip. It doesn't have a lot of curvature to it, not a lot of ergonomics to it, whereas the P10 has a bit of a hump in the back, and it just feels better in the hand. So I think that also plays a role in the less recoil that you would feel in a P10. So I would still say the P10.
Yeah. Interesting. I would say they're pretty close. I would say there's probably not too big of a difference between the two. Now, in terms of ergonomics, at least with the regular P320, I totally agree. I think the P10's got better ergonomics. At least it feels better in my hand personally. Sounds like these guys have about the same experience with that. The X Carry, the X Compact, I think they do a better job with ergonomics. I think the X grips feel a little better. And I kind of gravitate towards the compact a little bit more, mainly because I can just get more hand around it. It is a little bit thinner all the way around. So it's very comfortable for me. I like it. And I don't notice it being at all snappy. I mean, it's quite pleasurable to shoot, as is the X Carry and the X5, even the VTAC. I seem to enjoy those a little bit more than the regular P320s. And again, I think a lot of that comes back to just the grip itself. But in terms of recoil, I think they're pretty close. And whichever one you pick up and you shoot better, I think that's ultimately your answer.
I think the X Series do have a better grip than the regular 320. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think they did a great job with it. And the X Compact, it feels just fantastic. It is a fun shooter. Both of them, I think, are fun. They're fun to dry fire. Their triggers are not as good. The P10's got a better trigger. I'll just come out and say that. But I think it's tough to beat the P10 trigger. There are a few that are comparable or perhaps a little bit better, but not very many.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great pistol out of the box.
All right. So REB has got a question for us. Anyone check out the Predator Defense Combat Shroud? I think it's only for Glocks right now. You guys familiar with that?
No,
I'm looking it up as we speak.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm curious about that. You'll have to tell us.
Yeah. No, I'm not familiar with it. Unless I saw it and didn't pay attention to it.
Right.
And that does happen.
It's very Very interesting looking, to say the least.
Okay, Music is asking a question that we can all relate to. What shoots softer, the P09 or the P10?
I mean, I would say probably the P09. I mean, it's a little bigger gun, a little heavier gun, slides a little heavier. I would say probably that, unless you put it up against a P10F, and then they're probably pretty comparable. I mean, Big Johnson, you've got a lot more experience with that.
Yeah, I would say if you're comparing the two, you really need to do a P10C and then a P07. That's going to be more of a comparison. But again, I think they both shoot really, really good. And I'm not recoil sensitive. It's going to vary between different size hands, different people, the way they shoot. I mean, there's so many variables there. So what maybe a slight difference for me might be a major difference for another person. So it's really hard to say that.
Yeah.
What do y'all think?
I'm still looking about this compact shroud. This combat shroud, I don't even know what it is. The website is not very informative. I don't really know what it does. It almost looks like it's a ported slide on top of a barrel, but I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Interesting. So it might actually be a slide, or is it maybe
a slide with lightning cuts and stuff, but I don't know what the hell it is. It looks like it sits on the gun somehow.
There are a couple of companies that make they're almost like sleeves. Think about like a cell phone case almost, like a silicone case. There are companies that make those sleeves that go over the slide of Glocks. And I've seen some of those. They've even sold those on like Amazon and eBay and that sort of thing.
eBay. Yeah.
Right. It's never caught my interest. I don't necessarily see much of a purpose for it because all it does is make the gun bigger. It probably doesn't add much in terms of weight, but it makes the overall gun a little bit bigger. So I can't tell an advantage to that unless you just want to protect it from getting dinged, I guess. If it's a Glock, I wouldn't worry about it, but yeah.
And I've seen those that do, they're polymer or whatever, and they have like the lightning cuts in it. So when you snap it over your slide, it looks like you can see black through the holes. And I'm just like, for one, you're not going to be able to fit it into a holster, unless you just put it in some goofy, Uncle Mike setup or something. So I don't see any reason to own that thing, if that's what it is.
Right. 17, any more intel?
It actually looks like what happens is when the gun recoils, the shroud stays in place. So it allows you to be able to hold the gun steadier because the slide is reciprocating in or underneath the shroud.
Okay, well, yeah, they're saying the combat shroud keeps gun in battery if someone is trying to wrestle it from you. So let the gun go out of battery. And you know how to fix that. And I've even talked about it in numerous videos, is put a longer light on the front, like a TLR1, where it hangs past the light, or excuse me, past the end of the barrel.
But that's not going to stop somebody from grabbing the slide. That's just going to stop you from gutting.
If they grab the slide, more than likely they're going to have the bottom hand on the light. So, I mean, you've got a better chance. I don't like that gimmicky kind of stuff like that.
Anywhere from $250 to $3+. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Now, there was a question. I don't know who asked it, but there was a question. Would you rather have a Smith & Wesson 2.0 compact or a P10C?
I would say the 2.0. I think it's a great gun.
I would agree. Yeah, I would totally agree.
Okay. Personally, I would rather have the P10C. And if I did run the 2.0 compact, I would have to run the full-size grip in it, or excuse me, the full-size mag in it. That's just for me personally. But you can't go wrong with either one of those guns. It's going to determine which one you shoot better or which one you like better. So they're both great guns.
Yeah. So a couple of things. Doug Floyd was asking, good place to get an Apex trigger for his 2.0 M&Ps. Speaking of M&Ps, what do you guys think? Good place to get Apex triggers?
Shit, anywhere. I mean, Brownells, you name it, they're everywhere. So just order one and put it in and you'll love it.
Wherever you can find it cheapest.
Right. Yeah, totally worth it, without question. And then Mateo, and this kind of goes along with another thing I wanted to talk about. Mateo is saying, anyone interested in the new long slide shields? I know we've talked about it a little bit, but have you guys given those any more thoughts?
Definitely on the list. I definitely am interested in that. I think it's a pretty cool, it's kind of reminding me of the 48. It's going to have the ability, not necessarily carry 10 rounds, but you can get a longer grip on it with a longer slide. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily what people want, but if you think about it, it really is like an M&P 2.0 single stack because of that 4-inch barrel. Will it be a hot seller? I think so, because it's a shield.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to have a 4-inch pistol, and you can put a +2 on it, so it'll hold. The X-Tex that I've been testing, you can put the +2 on there, and you can carry 10+1, and a 4-inch package. And yeah, like the 48, and I know this to be a fact. Longer guns, if you're carrying appendix, a little bit longer gun actually is more comfortable than the little stubby guns. But I think it's going to be a home run, especially with an optic ready version. It just gives people an option. If they want to run an optic, fine. If they don't, that's fine too. And I did find out that Smith & Wesson is using Crimson Trace. They're actually even offering pistols now. Like, you buy the pistol and it comes with a Crimson Trace light. So I'm almost positive it's that optic.
Well, didn't Smith buy Crimson Trace?
Yeah, they're owned by the same company.
Yeah.
So, but and I checked out the lights. Like, they have a package right now where you can get an M&P compact and you get a free light, and it's a Crimson Trace light. Pretty nice looking light. And it just comes on the package.
Nice. I want to buy a firearm, and then I want it to come with a desk lamp or something like that.
There you go.
Something really kind of random, but very useful at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
I'm psyched for the 4-inch. I think it's going to get here Friday. I hope that's the goal. I'm excited for that. I want to put some rounds downrange and see if there's a significant difference between that and the smaller one. That's kind of the big thing. Otherwise, I like the shield, so I think it's already a winner in my book. I really do. Now, we've also had questions about, and there are several I want to talk about, but of course, and I bet 17, I bet you want to talk about this. The APX Carry, what do you think?
It's a kind of a mixed bag. I think there's a lot of excitement because it's a baby APX. It is basically internally the Beretta Nano. It's the same exact gun, just with the improved ergos, and then of course the slide has the whatever you want to call it on top of the pillars of justice. But I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I know the Nano initially had some issues, some growing pains, but ultimately it wound up becoming a very reliable gun. So I'm assuming that this APX is just going to be better just because of the ergonomics being better overall. So I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, what is it, 6 and 8 rounds, I think, or something like that? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think that's right, actually.
Yeah.
So it seems to be on par with like a shield, obviously the Mossberg and those other guns. But I think I'm pretty excited for it. I mean, the Apex is a nice gun. Beretta makes quality stuff, so I can't see it being problematic at all.
Well, I put my hands on it. I'm in Houston this week, and a gun store had one, and I was really not that impressed with it. The trigger is not great, but I'm not saying every gun has to have a fabulous trigger, but again, I think it's kind of a repurposed Nano, exactly what 17 said and some other people have said. It wouldn't be anything that I would buy, but if you want it, shoot, grab it.
Did you say you've seen the Carry already?
The little single stack one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, Spring Guns and Ammo had it.
Interesting.
Wow. That's early, because I didn't think it was going to be released till this week.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Most distributors don't even have it yet, so very interesting.
Yeah, they already got it.
Okay.
It looks just like a Nano. I was holding it like that, and I was like, looks like a Nano, but of course it has the little APX, stuff on and it has like a different, like the back strap looks a little different. Maybe, I don't know if it was just a medium or a large or whatever they had on there. I just put it in my hand and I was like, and then I pulled the trigger a couple of times, and the reset was pretty long, or it seemed long. And I was just like, you know, and but yeah, they said they had just gotten them in. So I don't know. They might, you know, just like when the P10Fs came out, the optic readies. Remember, they accidentally shipped some to. They shipped them out early to some people. Maybe that's how they got this. I didn't ask, but you know, they had it all on the little Beretta display, like, you know, it was a piece of gold.
Yeah. Well,
if anybody's in Houston and they want one, Spring Guns and Ammo has one.
Yeah, they probably won't have them very long because they'll be hot for about 10 seconds, like the rest of the APX line. They're great guns. I like them, but they're not terrifically popular. But Paul made a comment just a second ago. He said, I had to leave a rant on Beretta's YouTube vid. All they had to do was make a small APX. The trigger is a fail. It's a repurposed nano. Is exactly what it is. And I will say this is one thing, and I was thinking about as well with the couple of videos that are out there, Such, Mr. Guns and Gear. There might be a couple of others. Those are the only two I've seen. And the form factor, the look of it, I actually like, because the APX grew on me. It really did. I mean, at first I was kind of on the fence, but after a while I enjoyed it, and I thought they were good guns, and their triggers were. They were good. They were not fantastic, but they were good. They were more than passable. I would have given them a B to B plus all day long. And in my book, that's good. They were enjoyable to shoot. This one I'm worried about the trigger because it's not the APX trigger. I think they took the nano trigger, and that I may have a problem with that. But I'm curious to get it in hand.
Yeah, I mean, everything is basically the nano. They've actually, I read an article where they swapped the slides, and the slide works no problem from the nano on the APX. So it's the same gun, same exact gun, just aesthetically different. On the exterior, it's all different, but internally, it's identical. Everything's the same.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say it was the nano, and I just don't know. Was it a chassis gun?
Yeah. Yep. And then the only thing that you'll notice, if you, let's say you have a nano and you want to get an APX carry and you want to switch everything up, the only thing that the carry is going to have that the nano will not is slide release, slide lock, because the nano doesn't have it. And you can always maybe buy it later or not use it. But
interesting.
It's the same gun, same exact gun. But I mean, does that necessarily knock it out of buying? I don't think so. I think the nano, I've never owned a nano. I never really wanted a nano, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad gun. And I think if they're upgrading it almost like a nano 2.0, I don't see it being any different than them, Smith making a Shield 1.0 and then a 2.0. They're making, needed improvements on a handgun. Now, is the trigger going to suck? Maybe. And if it does, then hopefully, hopefully Apex will come out with something. But I don't think it's necessarily a gun you should walk away from just because you don't want to repurpose nano.
Yeah. When I looked at the trigger, you know how the Apex, or excuse me, the the APX has the wider trigger. You remember how they were kind of wide?
Mm-hmm.
This nano, or this small one, it doesn't have that. It's kind of, it doesn't look anything like the other ones did. So that's why I thought it was like a nano type trigger. And I remember the nanos, I played with them when they first came out. And, I was like, I mean, and I know a lot of people like them. I just personally didn't see a use for it for me.
Yeah. Mateo was saying, I agree. They should have left the nano alone with its double action only trigger and just made a micro APX. So, and 17 has a good point. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what the real thing in the hand looks like and acts like and everything. But I do have my reservations a little bit, and if I'm wrong, I'll say it in the video. I have no problem with that. But I have some reservations about it. But I'll tell you what, it looks. I'm looking right at it. It looks really cool. So we'll see. We'll see.
It's definitely space age looking for a little gun.
It's better than the Taurus.
You had to go there, didn't
I had
you?
to throw it in there. I mean, yeah, the trigger is not a gold trigger, but Jesus God, it's got to be better than any Taurus trigger.
Oh goodness, we're gonna leave that one alone.
Do you think that Beretta had a lot of parts left over from the nano? Maybe because of sales, they just didn't move, and so they were like, what? Let's make a new slide.
Like anything else, it's just a refresher. It's all it is. It's just a refreshing of a handgun they had, and they're changing the name.
Yeah.
So yeah, the trigger isn't necessarily a full-size APX, but that's the way it is. You're going to try to cost cut or cut costs, which hopefully will translate to what you're going to spend for it, because it's a $400 gun. So you figure maybe on the market you see 350, 365. I mean, is that, you know, I think that's acceptable, honestly.
Yeah, and it's probably marketing wise, I think that's probably a good idea, because right now APX is surely more popular or more well known than the Nano at this point, I would imagine, right? So yeah, so from a marketing perspective, I totally agree. Now, if it is truly a rehashed Nano and they put APX on it and they did the slide, you know, in the APX fashion, part of me has a little bit of a problem with that, simply because they are two different guns, right? And so, I don't know. We'll see. It could turn out to be just absolutely fantastic. Who knows? I'll admit I'll be a little disappointed if the trigger is 7 pounds or something like that. I mean, that more kind of double action, firm trigger, you know?
Yeah. I think it's 6 pounds. I think it's a 6-pound double action trigger.
Yeah, Pistol Pete has a great idea. Put tactical on it and everybody will buy it.
That's right.
There it
Tactical
is.
APX.
There it is. But kind of a gray man tactical.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, so going along with this, we've talked a lot about that, and I think that'll be probably a topic of discussion for a while, because I think people are interested in knowing more about it. But moving on to Ruger, have you guys given any more thought to the whatever subcompact Security 9? Any interest there at all?
Nope.
Not for myself.
Okay, so that's 2 resounding no's, quick no's, which I appreciate. I'm the same way. I can't. I talked with my gunsmith at Centerfire, Nolan, and he does usually the ordering and everything. Kind of helps me try and get guns as quickly as possible. We talked about that, and he found one. He was ready to jump on it. And at first I was like, yeah, you know, let's give it a try. And then I actually backed off on it and was like, you know what? I did the Security 9 and it was fine, but it wasn't great in my opinion. I mean, it was fine. It was fine. But I'm not excited about the Security 9 subcompact. I just really am not.
Oh, go ahead, Big J.
Oh, I was just going to say, Knuckles is asking a great question, and I need to know if he's talking about like a subcompact, a compact, or a full size. So Knuckles, if you'll put full size, he's asking what's the best optic ready 9mm, thinking about taking the plunge.
I don't know. Well, can we just go back to the Ruger?
Go ahead.
Please.
So, you know, the thing about the Ruger, I think it definitely is, you know, pinpointing a certain market of people who bought the, you know, Security 9 and want something that's affordable, number one. Number two, that they're comfortable with shooting, that they know it's reliable and has a really good warranty. So I think that from that standpoint, you're going to get a lot of people who are Ruger people probably buying it, because now it gives them the option of carrying basically a very small Security 9 and still having their, you know, compact, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But I think, you know, the Ruger people will love it. They'll eat it up because it's affordable, it's reliable, and it's got a really good warranty on it.
Yeah, and even to add another point to that, people who bought the full-size Security, they're going to have mag compatibility to the small or medium one. And then also, if they own a Ruger PCC, the mags are compatible also. So, you know, I could see people buying that, like, you know, in that group, I could see people buying them up pretty well.
And I wonder if that's like the new thing for manufacturers, to make a lot of reciprocity for everything now, you know, whether it's magazines, whether it's internal parts. I wonder if that's what we're going to start seeing now more of, just because of the variabilities, or I don't even, is that a word? Variability? I don't know.
Sure, why not?
Variables?
Yeah, the variables that you have when you can switch, whether it's a frame or you know, a trigger assembly or sights or slide on a frame. I mean, I just think I think that's really what I'd like to see gun manufacturers go to, is start doing more of that, where there's more interchangeability between a compact, subcompact, full size, you know, maybe magazine interchangeability like Glock has done for years. I think that would be a pretty good, interesting thing to see people going for that. You know, there've been some misses on that, you know, the PPQ and the PPQ subcompact. The magazines are not necessarily transferable, because, you know, they say, well, you need to have something in there because you could, you know, slam the magazine in too far, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it'd be nice to start seeing that constantly being done by all manufacturers.
Yeah, I totally agree. You don't want over penetration, I think, is what it comes down to. So no,
Over penetration.
I 100% agree with that. And one last thing, and then we'll jump into questions. Knuckles, we'll get your question first and foremost. But one more along the lines with Ruger and Big Johnson. You had mentioned the carbine and the interchangeability. Well, we've got a couple of new carbines out there. Have you guys seen those, and do they grab your attention at all?
From Ruger with their, tactical looking one, I mean, either one of those, not really. I mean, for me personally, I think the price point, when they first came out, they were kind of expensive, but they've actually decreased in price. And I think it would be a really good option for, that compatibility between your Security 9, or if you own other Rugers that take that magazine. And of course, the Rugers will take a Glock mag. They've got the little spacer to take the Glock mag. So, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all, if that's what you want.
I don't really, I don't really know how I feel about, pistol carbines, that kind of stuff. I'm not really into them. I don't really have an interest. I always think of a rifle of having a bigger caliber, bullet, whatever you want to call it. I just have not got into that realm of pistol caliber carbines. It's just not something I'm into at this point.
That's fair. I think the whatever tactical one looks kind of cool. Looks a little bit different. I actually sort of picture like a World War I, World War II submachine gun with that front end, the way it looks. But to me, the Rugers especially, but a lot of them, I think they make great range plinkers. If you want to go and just dump a bunch of ammo and have a really good time. I mean, Big Johnson, you and I have talked about that a little bit. Just having a really good time, and half an hour later you look over and the box is empty, sort of thing. That's what those are for in my mind. And I like the break apart feature of the Ruger. I've never shot one or anything, but I think they serve a purpose. You can enjoy them. Newer shooters could definitely get into them and that sort of thing. So I think they serve a purpose.
Listen, if you guys are going to start shooting like pistol carbines, can you do me a favor? Just make sure you have the overhand C grip on your barrel. All right.
You're doing it wrong. You have to do it this way.
All right.
Don't put
all right, okay.
All right. There you go.
All right, there we go.
Thumb over. See.
All right, that's tactical.
But I will
very tactical.
I will tell you this, and I mean, I have experience with both. I have a PCC, AR type, and then I have, the Scorpion, and I enjoy them both. But I'll tell you and it kind of reminds me of like the 1522. What is the 1522 for? It's kind of like a trainer, a very inexpensive, cheap 22 long rifle trainer for an AR. It's kind of what the 9mm is. But, say you don't want to run, an AR in your house or whatever. I mean, you could put 33 rounds pretty damn quick on somebody and they shoot super, super flat. And you can load it up with hollow points and you could really mess up somebody's day or a group of people's day if they're breaking into your home. So, I mean, there's a lot of advantages to that. And of course, if you want to shoot PCC and USPSA or something too, I mean, those guys just go out and shred. I mean, it's amazing how fast they are and accurate they are. So, I mean, it has its advantages and they're fun as hell to shoot. Just like KS said, you will chew through ammo. I mean, I took 500 rounds out there and it seemed like I was gone almost instantly. I mean, it's just mag after mag after mag. They're just so damn fun to shoot.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that for sure. So let's jump into questions. I know we've been dying to do that. Knuckles, why don't we get to your question first? As Big Johnson had introed just a little while ago, what's the best optics ready 9mm? Thinking about taking the plunge. What do you guys think?
And he did come back saying a compact or subcompact is what he said. So out of those, go ahead, KS, or whomever, 17.
Go ahead, KS.
I think either one would do fine. If we're talking optics ready, I don't think it necessarily matters whether it's full size or compact. And I mean, some people are even doing subcompact, little Glock 26. This thing's cut for an RMR, and people are doing that. I mean, we've talked about this quite a bit on the chat because I think it's becoming more and more of a thing. We're seeing more and more optics ready or somewhat ready firearms. And so pick the gun you shoot. and you shoot well and you like and you can afford and all that sort of thing, and if it's ready for an optic, or if you have to send it out, get it milled for an optic, I mean, that's what you run with, in my opinion. So I don't necessarily know that there's a distinct advantage one over the other, unless maybe you're talking competition, and perhaps that gets into a different conversation.
Go ahead, 17.
So if I'm assuming he means he put in there pre-cut, right? So it comes optic ready, he said, from factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think there are two good choices. Obviously, there's one that's better than the other, but I think the two good choices, for the simple fact that it allows you to have what's the word I'm looking for?
Multiple.
No, you can use your iron sights as well, co-witnessing.
Oh, co-witnessing.
So I think the two choices would probably be a SIG P320, whatever, and I think also the Glock 19 MOS. I think right now for me, those are the two tops. I mean, I don't have experience with the CZ optics ready, and I think those are also co-witnessing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they do not co-witness. Matter of fact, the Glock doesn't either until you change the sights.
But yeah, you have to change.
Well, I understand that, but you have the ability to co-witness, unlike a Walther or Canic or something like that.
Right.
I think for me, if I'm going to use it as a carry gun, I think you have to have that. I think that's a must. So I think right now, if you had to choose, and now that you guys have told me the CZ, I think those are three of the good choices right there. Compact size wise, full size wise, whatever you choose. But I think honestly, the Glock MOS to me is outstanding. It's a fantastic gun. The SIG P320 RX is a great gun as well. The P10, I don't have experience with it, but I'm assuming it's as good as the other two. So I think those would be three excellent choices.
Yeah, I mean, I would pretty much shadow those. I mean, the SIG is a great option. Matter of fact, some of those that come with the Delta Point Pro, or excuse me, come with the SIG Romeo, some of them you can get sights for easily, co-witness sights. The Glock, and the benefit of the Glock is you have, say you're dabbling in it and you just want to get like a Vortex or something less expensive. With the Glock, you've got all the different plates, that's coming in there. So that's the least expensive way to try it out. If you've settled on an optic and like I want a Delta Point Pro or I want a Trijicon RMR, if you have a gun that you shoot very well, you're going to be out the optic either way, unless it just comes in the package, whatever you choose. But if you have a gun that you shoot really, really good, I would say have it milled. I mean, personally, because it's a gun you shoot, and if you don't want the optic or you decide against it, you can also have a plate made, because when they mill that area out, they can mill a plate to put in there too. So it's, you're covered either way. But if you shoot the gun well, you're probably not going to get rid of it.
Right. And I agree with that. Like even with the P10, like that's why I have not jumped on any of the optics ready. I mean, I have the P10C. I think it's a great gun. If I was going to get an optics, I'd probably just have it, cut for that gun in particular, because it's not going to go anywhere. So I agree with that.
Yeah. And you can get them cut for, there's people who do them for $100, and you can also get the Cerakote. You can choose a different color if you choose to.
Sure. And if the gun is reliable, and if you've shot boatloads of rounds through it, it's not like you have to start all over again, put the gun through its paces, and then hopefully it works. But I don't know. It's hard, because obviously everybody's pushing the red dot now. I don't know how I feel about it still. I mean, I like them, but I don't know if I'm 100% sold on them.
I'm really enjoying the P10F a lot. I mean, I tried the Glock 34 with the optic, and it just wasn't for me, because I had to keep bending I had to bend my wrist quite a bit because of the angle, to get the dot on every time. And of course that's a training issue. I'm not blaming it on the gun, but with the P10F, it seems more natural for me. But again, if you've shot Glocks all the time, mill a Glock, or, get a Glock. So it's completely your choice.
Yeah, I would agree about the co-witnessing. I think that's really important. I'm a firm believer in that. Beyond that, again, find the one you like, find the one you shoot well, and again, run with it. There are a lot of good choices out there. So I want to read a question out loud. It's funny beyond funny. This is from Poe Performance. A couple of you might know him. It says, I've noticed very impressive growth on your channel recently. Thank you. Very much appreciate that. Would love to know the secret of your success. Is it hard work, dedication, or buying subscribers? What do you guys think?
I mean, I've bought all mine. Nobody watches any of my shit. So I was very desperate. You know, I panhandle while I do all my videos too, begging you guys to give me money. Don't even get me started on this topic because this is gonna go down really fast.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. That just, you know, hey, whatever you do, man, great. Good for you. I don't give a shit. You know, what do? I make videos that people either like or don't like. You know, whatever. Like I said, I think the only thing that irritates me in the YouTube world are the people who want you guys to give them money. Again, it's up to you if you decide to do that. There are some channels that I really enjoy that ask for money, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that. And I don't care if anybody's doing that. What I don't get is I don't understand how people could ask for money. Just work hard, do what you do, enjoy it, and then move on. You know, that's the way I look at everything, you know, and if you work hard at it and you do okay with it, ultimately you're going to benefit from it. And I just am not to that point where I could absolutely ask anybody to give me anything for what I do on these videos, because it's not rocket science, guys. This is not very difficult to do. It takes some time to learn, especially with editing and stuff. But once you get it down, it's not that hard. And I can't see asking for money. I mean, that's just me as random rant. You know, whatever you guys decide to do in your futures, that's up to you. But I just don't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not begging for anybody to subscribe. I'm not paying for subscribers. I just think that's fucking ridiculous. I think if that's what you're about, you need to find a new job, a new career, and do something a little bit more with your life, because YouTube is a fake, man. This is all fake. It's smoke and mirrors, guys. And what I mean by that is, you know, I can make a video that makes myself look like a top shot anytime, but I don't do that. I show you what I shoot. I tell you my hands shake like crazy sometimes, and that's the way it is. But that's the reality of it. But a lot of people are caught up in this facade that somehow they're better because they're on YouTube, and the reality is, no, none of us are. You know, we're all gun people. We enjoy guns. We like reviewing guns. We like shooting guns, and it's nothing more than that. And that's the way I approach it. So right or wrong, that's probably why I have still less than 10,000 subs, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and myself, I mean, this is just a hobby, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy, you know, sharing my experiences with people, and of course, I learn stuff from YouTube, and you know, hopefully, each one of us learns something every day, whether it not even be on YouTube. I've never bought a sub, never bought a sub on Instagram, never bought a sub on YouTube. You know, I am what I am. You like it or you don't like it. You know, the way that I kind of look at YouTube is I do these videos. If I were to crash and burn tomorrow, if I just, you know, died or something, you know, happened, my wife, my kid, you know, they could go back and look at this, you know, my grandkids, if YouTube's still around, and they could just say, hey, there's granddad, you know. I mean, that kind of stuff. That's the reason I do it. You know, I just enjoy the interaction, the camaraderie, you know, the group that we have, the family, and that's what I'm in it for. You know, I'm nobody special. I'm an average guy. I'm not a pro shooter. I'm not a bullseye shooter. You know, I just show the real me. And yeah, I suck sometimes when I shoot. Sometimes I shoot good. You know, it's just, it is what it is. So,
Yeah.
You know, I think it's really weird. You know, I've always wondered this too. And of course, I know you guys, you know, but, you know, like, you know, you see these people on YouTube and the way they act and all this other stuff, and you're wondering, I wonder if they really act like that in real life. You know, like if I were to meet them, are they really that person? You know, some people could have double lives. You never know what the hell they are.
Sure.
So I take them all with a grain of salt. And as far as the big channels, you know, some people say, well, I won't even watch the big channels. If there's a gun that I'm interested in, I'll listen to maybe their perspective or I'll listen to their opinion, but I take it with a grain of salt. Like, you shouldn't trust me. I mean, you know, because I'm not you. We don't have the same setups. We might not shoot the same way. I'm just giving you an opinion.
Right.
But you know, that's just the way I look at it. So.
Right.
So KS, what's your secret?
What's my secret? Well, you know, it's funny. The first two that person who's no longer on the channel mentioned is hard work and dedication. It's doing the work. It's putting in the time. It's dumping a lot of money into it. I've spent a lot of money on the channel, but not buying subs. I don't even know how you do that. I didn't even know that was a thing. And frankly, that's ridiculous, because that's going to come back to haunt you. Those aren't real people. And YouTube has a way to go and rifle through those and delete those. I mean, we went through a thing. This was 5 or 6 months ago, where they went through and deleted inactive and fake channels. And so everybody saw that. And a bunch of us channels kind of talked about that. And it periodically happens. And so there's no gain to that whatsoever. And by the way, the amount of friends and family that you have on your channel has no impact on anything that goes on, other than it's more people that get alerts when you put out videos. And that's a good thing. I mean, you want awareness but that's it. So it's hard work and it's dedication. And the fact that, you know, some other people are petty, jealous, whatever, that you know, some channels do this or some channels do that. I think that is so weak, and it's a waste of everyone's time. It makes everybody look bad, it makes the gun community look bad, and that makes me both angry and a little bit sad too, because why? What's the purpose of doing that? What's the purpose of doing that? All you're doing is wasting everyone's time and looking bad while doing it. So
I think I'm sorry. Are you good?
I don't know. I've got a lot of thoughts about that. I don't want to say entirely too much.
Close your eyes and pretend I'm hugging you right now.
But again, that problem has now ceased to exist, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, my only thing in regards to this, and this will be the last thing I say about it, is, you know, I think there's a lot of fraudulent shit that goes on with the YouTube gun channels. You know, there are people out there who claim they're gun channels, and they're not. I mean, they're just not. You know, they can say, oh, well, we like this gun, and this is but, you know, if you watch the body of work that they do, there's very little interaction with guns. There's very little footage in regards to, you know, shooting a gun or owning a particular model. Like, we could sit here for hours and we could talk about every gun that was ever made. But if we don't have the experience shooting it, and if we don't have, or if we've never owned it or had in our possession, then, you know, how do you give us any merit and any credit for any knowledge about that gun? You know, and, you know, for me, sometimes I say things like, for example, I make fun of Taurus all the time. I personally have never shot one. I say that a million times, but I don't want to shoot one. You know, I have no desire to shoot that gun, but it would be like me making a G2C video. I've never owned one. So what business do I have even discussing it or even showcasing it when I don't have firsthand knowledge about it? And I think that's what bugs me a lot about it, is that you have these quote unquote gun channels that aren't gun channels. They're not. They never have been. They never will be. But they saw a sphere of influence, so to speak, and they decided to kind of poke holes into that. And now they've been fully embraced by the gun community because, you know, they make certain types of videos that appeal to, you know, different aspects of the gun community, when in fact they're not really a gun channel. You know, if you want to call it a satirical channel, great. I have no problem with that. But don't come across as a member of a gun community when to me, you don't represent the positives of the gun community. And that's about education. It's about knowledge. It's about shooting, skill, practice, you know, all those things that go into it. I mean, guns are not a joke. Shooting guns are not a joke. I mean, this takes time to develop a skill at this. And I think we can all agree we still have way to go in regards to developing those skills. But that's just my perspective on it. Again, no ill will to anybody. Whatever you're doing, great. God bless. I hope you're all successful. And I'm not gonna, you know, not gonna badmouth people. I'm just telling you what I don't like.
Yeah, and I do want to say one more thing about this. You know, for anyone to, and of course, KS is a true friend and a brother, and you know, I would do this for 1776. For anyone to kind of call out KS and say, you know, how did you do this? If you look at his videos, I mean, he spent, you can tell he spends a ton of time on this. And I mean, he's got a huge following. Most people don't ever put in that kind of effort. They don't. I mean, that he puts in. So he's earned all of those subs, and good for him, man. He's earned every single one of them. You know, and that's, and why, I'm just going to say this out loud. I don't give a shit what people do. I just don't care. If you want to go and troll everybody, if you want to do what you want to do, or you want to badmouth people, go do it. But, you know, I mean, we're a tight-knit family, and I don't go around calling out people. We, you know, we kind of might, have our visions of what people are in real life, but who am I to judge another person? I'm not God. Nobody, said, hey, you're the judger of all. So I really don't care. It doesn't affect my life. I'm still going to go to sleep and wake up the next morning. So I don't care. So that's the way I feel about it. So why call someone out on it? Just let them do them.
Well, anyway, yeah, let's wrap this up. But I do want to say thank you to everyone. You guys are all amazing. This is a phenomenal family and community, and it's something that I think we can all be very proud of. And we've all worked very hard at this, and it's just a lot of fun. And this is like all of us sitting in the living room together, just shooting the shit and having fun and telling stories and everything. So we appreciate every single one of you guys. So let's talk guns for 10 minutes.
Okay.
And it goes totally quiet.
Oh no, yeah. Let's talk about guns.
So let me ask you guys this: what is next up on the agenda for you guys right now?
Go ahead, 17.
Well, I got the APX Centurion coming at some point. God knows when. So I'm really excited about that. I actually just traded a handgun also for another swap. I don't know if I want to talk about this because there's going to be people who are going to beat me up for this one. So let's talk about that PPS M2 RMSC. So you guys know I had it, I shot it. Yeah, it's gone. I decided to get rid of it. But I also wanted to try a new gun, that I wanted to get, but I didn't want to pay for it. So
towards G2.
Yeah. So I wound up trading and then getting some cash for a Glock 43X. So that's coming in as well. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to see which one of them between the 43X and the 48 I like better, and then go from there, and see which one really makes a difference for me. Like I said, I think the biggest problem with the RMSC was the fact that you have such a small barrel slide, whatever you want to call it, with a red dot. I think it's kind of, I don't really know if it's necessary, for a gun like that. So it was time to move on. Had some fun with it, shot it, actually wound up trading it with a police officer. So that was cool. I'm always glad to help the boys in blue, so to speak. And a really nice guy. Met him for the first time. As a matter of fact, I actually met a subscriber in the gun shop, which was weird. So I thought it was odd because it never happened. So this guy said, hey, I know your face. And I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? Did I rob this guy's house or something? And then I immediately said, no, you don't. He goes, yeah, you're the YouTube guy. I'm like, oh boy. So I'm like, yeah, we shook hands. Really, really nice guy. I like that. I think it's kind of cool because, they approach you and I guess they're thinking, oh, let's see what this guy's really about. But like Big Johnson said, this is me. I mean, what you see is what you get. There ain't much, trust me. But it was kind of a nice experience. And again, I'm excited for the 43X. I'm looking into getting a shield 4-inch. Apparently KS is going to beat everybody to that again. And then ultimately the APX compact or carry, whatever it's called. And then hopefully at some point a Steyr.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, I actually dropped off a gun at a custom shop on Monday, and I'm supposed to pick it up this Friday. I'm really excited about it. I gave him some ideas of what I want and kind of told him to run with it, and I'm excited about it. So I won't say anything of what gun it is. Won't say the company name yet. That's going to be coming. So I'm really excited about that. I've got other stuff to review. I've got a couple things I've been testing for about a month and a half now, and one is a really good review, and one is not a good review. So that's kind of what I have coming up.
Nice. A big pile of stuff. Really, lots of things going on. It's tough to know where to start. REB was asking about the Mossberg. It's still on the plate. I have not touched it yet, other than dry firing it. So that's got to come out at some point. But I've got some other things that I really want to get out first and foremost, and some things that I'm working on. This weekend, it's the AR9, the Palmetto State Armory AR9. It's a great firearm because I've actually got an If I Could Only Have One that's kind of sitting in the wings. It's actually already recorded between that and the SIG MPX, even though the MPX has already moved on. It's funny how all that works with editing and everything else, but it was kind of an interesting study there. And you guys know I picked up the SIG Scorpion Micro, so I want to do some work with that. I might have to bring the MPX back because I think those are actually a better comparison. But yeah, lots of stuff. It's hard to know where to start and where to stop. I want to jump on those 1911 10 millimeters from Rock Island. I'm very excited to play around with those. And just lots of stuff, man. Lots of stuff indeed. So any last minute questions from anybody out there before the evening comes to a dramatic close?
Let's see here. Looking forward to 1776 review of the new Steyr when it comes out. He just said me too. I think Clint Smith is awesome.
Yeah, somebody asked what is our favorite gun channel besides myself. I don't really like my gun channel, to be honest with you. But I like Thunder Ranch, and I really like Mr. Guns and Gear. I just find him to be like one of the most, straightforward. This is the gun, and I like his reviews, and he freaking shoots it really well. And honestly, Honest Outlaw is very good too. I just watched his friggin' Mossberg video where he's shooting like 75 yards out and hitting them.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that guy. But yeah, I mean, those are like some of the ones that I definitely will tend to, gravitate to. Yeah,
I tend to go, watch every one of Honest Outlaw's videos. He makes great videos. And I think his wife is hilarious. When she says those little comments, like in tonight's video, I watched at the Mossberg, and he's putting the gun in his pocket, and he goes to pull it out, and he goes, "Oh, I got these skinny jeans or whatever." And she goes, "Oh yeah, your sexy jeans." Just little stuff like that. She just cracks me up. Or if it's cold, she's like, "Hurry the hell up, I'm cold." Alabama. Yeah. Okay. I was just going to say Dennis B said Alabama Arsenal. That's a great channel. There's Guns and Gear, there's some really, really good channels out there, and they're big channels, and there's nothing wrong with watching some big channels. So I just kind of pick and choose what I want to watch, but I always, at the end of the day, form my own opinion. It's just, is it for me? Am I interested in it? If I see some good reviews and it's a gun I'm interested in, I'm more apt to check it out personally.
So really quick, Philip Harper asked 1776, why don't you use a 40A? I don't know what, I guess it's 40 for home defense. The only 40s I use are the ones that I drink. I'm not a 40 fan, man. I don't like 40s. 9 millimeters is the way to go for me.
Been there and done that on the 40s.
Yeah.
I've had many of them.
Yeah,
I have been to H&H in Oklahoma many times.
Not a 40 fan.
Somebody was saying Honest Outlaw uses 8-foot targets.
Yeah, right.
So,
as far as channels go, I would say, Honest Outlaw is definitely among my favorites as well. But I think we're all a little biased. He's a buddy of all of ours as well, and it's fun to support our friends. But he is a phenomenal shooter. I too enjoy Mr. Guns and Gear. Sage, I like quite a bit. Sage Dynamics, but then I watch a lot of channels that are just like ours. I like to hear real world perspective that may not have any sort of an influence. And I'm not saying that bigger channels do necessarily, but I kind of want that down home feeling when I watch videos, and it's fun to interact with those people as well. So I tend to watch a lot of those just because they're kind of fun and remind me of kind of my own channel and just hearing other people's thoughts that they just put it out there. There's no agenda or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's some great, smaller channels, and a lot of them are out here in the family, Humble and Harry. Everybody has great channels. So it's just, you can pick your own poison, whatever you want to watch.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's definitely getting that time.
It is getting that time. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll definitely wrap things up, gentlemen. That was the silent.
That was a cute.
It's a bye.
Yeah, no, I would like to thank, all the family members out there. Y'all make it all happen. We love y'all's interaction. You give us great content to, ask the questions and bring some great questions to the party. So always love to, get everyone's opinions. And that's kind of what makes a great conversation or great chat, flow well. It's having good content, good questions to ask.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Appreciate everybody watching. Everybody who joins us, listens to us, either berate each other or, talk guns or just whatever. Like I said, it's, I think the thing we try to strive for, at least on these live chats, is the fact that this is as authentic as you're going to get. There's not a lot of mincing words, so to speak, here, and I think that's a good thing. You know, I prefer that. I mean, that's what I'm about, and that's what I would prefer to be around.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Well, thank you all very much for hanging out with us on Wednesday. We aired a little bit of dirty laundry, but that's all gone and taken care of. So we appreciate all of you guys and look forward to seeing you guys next week. Be safe, and we'll see you soon.
See ya.
Thanks, everyone.
See ya.